house, he added to Potiphar's house. In prison, he added. And guess what? When he added to Potiphar's house, despite being sold into slavery. So things doesn't have to be good around you before you introduce somebody to Jesus. Even in slavery, he added to Potiphar's house. In prison, added. And then the person he added to bachelor. You see, many of you, you need somebody's recommendation. Somebody whom you bless today is the one that will recommend you to Pharaoh later. Who have you blessed? Who have you added to? Who must tell Pharaoh about you? Who have you added to? Who? Addition is not free. Lord, add to me, add to me, add to me. You see, many Christians to God, they are Mr. Bean. They are comedians. Here they are. Lord, multiply me. Lord, Psalm 115, verse 14. And you're quoting scriptures to God. He said, you shall increase us more and more and more. And then God is softly trying to tell you something, but you are shouting. You can't hear him. He said, when you add to my work, but you are praying, I rebuke that voice. I rebuke Kaya, a graduate, Kaya. And God is looking at you. He said, look at this idiot. He hasn't added anything to my house. And I should give, look, there was a question in my notes. Let me sit down. Why should God give you immigration status for you to still not pay tithe? Why should God bless you and you hide this 10%? Achan hid the 10%. They buried him. Because Achan did not tithe, a whole Israel was defeated by a small nation. I used to tell people in this church, maybe I can announce it now for free. When they admit you in Mayday Hospital with high blood pressure, diabetes, ulcer, or whatever, tell me why I should come there and pray for you to get out. To come out and still not tell anybody about how God healed you. To come out and still be robbing God of his tithe. I mean, to perpetuate your madness. So I should pray to God to release you to continue, not to tell anybody about how he healed you. I mean, there is nobody in this room whom God has not done anything for. The question God is asking is, who have you told? Who has heard your testimony? Because he's not only telling people your life to Jesus, Jesus died for the propitiation. You don't need to speak big English like Gabi. Just tell them what you were before and how you are now. That is enough gospel. And then bring them to church. So you bring them here and we'll do the rest. Even just that small one. Tell your neighbor, this is no longer a takeaway church. Amen. Say it the way I'm saying with my mouth twisted to the left. It's never been a takeaway church. How come your pastor is all, I mean, all of you when you come here, you are expecting pastor, bishop must deliver. He has to deliver. We expect it. Actually, he must be there every Sunday. Whether the family is going on holiday or not, we don't care. He must be here to teach us. And not to us. Why? After all, we pay his salary. Which one? But let's not even go there. But you expect your pastor to be here every time to add to you. What God is now asking is, what are you adding? From now, as one of my mentors would say, it is illegal to come to church with an empty car. In God's eyes, it's illegal. You alone in your car, Mercedes or Lexus or whatever source, you alone and you are coming. Yeah, prosperity, Lexus, Mercedes, Subaru, Homer. Now, who is enjoying the car? You see, the car was given to you to give people lift. That's right. Amen. To give people lift to check. You know, the place you are moving to, Croydon Council demands that when you are going to set up a church somewhere, they want people to come there less with cars. They want them to come by public transport. But they said, if you are going to come with a car, make sure you give people lifts so there's no congestion. That's what they say to all the churches. There's no congestion with or many cars. So even Croydon Council, which is not spiritual, expects church people to give people lift. You pray, I prayed with you, and you got the car. You come to church alone in that car. The car God gave you. Now you alone occupy all. 4, 5 seats. You are sitting on all invisibly. How insane is that? Many people have never brought even one person to church before. They come by themselves, go by themselves, laugh by themselves, eat by themselves. They haven't called anybody on phone to encourage anybody before, but they need all the encouragement in the world. What are you adding to your church? Let's finish with our friend. Then next week, April is the month of total identification with your church. Total. You know, one of the things I was going to mention, for those of you who came late today, your church starts church service at 10:30 and finishes at 1. So from now, church service starts at 10:30. Intercessors and those who want to pray into our enough is enough and the project come at 10. 10:30 is when the service starts, and by 1 is finished. Now, that 10:30 service start is God's time to meet you, whom you say you love. So if you are going to meet your lover and you are late, I think you need to look at your love properly. As you can see, I'm not saying it in anger. There's no need. When I was courting my wife, even, let me not reveal secrets. Let me use my son, Gabi. When Gabi was courting Yvonne, he lives in Croydon. He went all the way to Lewisham. He goes there 3 times a day, like a Muslim praying 5 times. Announced, unannounced. Why? He's in love. When I asked the question earlier, how many of you love God? Now, if a human being cannot be late to meet his girlfriend to marry them later, how can you be habitually late to meet God, the owner of the universe, whom you claim you love? You don't disappoint people you love. There's no need to anger. I'm telling you out of love. How can you be late when God gives you an invitation? When the queen tells you come and collect OBE, will you be late? In the house of God, there's liberty. Wow, God is not here. Now, who told you he's not here? Next week, I'm going to show you something that what I pronounce over you is what God does for you. I'll show you from the scripture. He said, he confirms the word of his messengers. When I say, bam, that's what God will do. When I don't say 0, God will do 0. Because I represent him in this ministry. I can almost tell when your miracle baby will come. I can tell you, bam. And I can tell you what date. And I can tell you the sex. There are some people who are children of God. Others are friends of God. Others are sons of God. There are different levels by virtue of intimacy. When he says, I have an appointment. My father has a program in Otta. It's called One Night with the King. All the members of Winners, One Night with the King. I have an appointment with the King of Kings. You should see them. Baraka. They are there before the service starts. 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 They are there before the service Christians in London. When you were looking for a visa to come to London, you were at the Ghana British High Commission far before the office opened. Trinidad, you were in that place. Jamaica, you were in that before the thing opened. When Manchester and Liverpool are playing, you leave London and get there. Long before they open the booth for tickets. Even some people have season tickets. Where's your ticket? God says, meet me at 10:30. What's all this? Doesn't God know we have other things to do? Now, but when we start singing, I love you, Lord. Now, how many of you know that when we are singing praise and worship, we hear some of your voices stand out? Yours is the loudest, but you are late. You come and sing the last verse of the praise and worship. And you are loud. Because you came late, you have energy to sing louder. When you get to I love you, the love one, you say, I love. And everybody around you can hear your purpose. Now, when did you come to church? When did you arrive here? When you were singing that, when did you arrive? What are you adding to your church? From now, nobody in the entire kingdom, anybody hearing the sound of my voice and precious people in the house, you must not subtract. You must not take away. You must add. The first thing you add before we talk about tithe and offering, which is mandatory,